T.
Miss T. Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Can't wait for you to meet Miss T. She is the T in T.
So I got something so dope to share with you today. So I hope you have your notepads, your pens out. One of the things that I like to coach people in a great deal, especially in the entrepreneurial realm, is how to make money. One thing that I find that most people miss is it takes money to make money. And when you just getting started, a lot of people think that they're going to jump into this business, they're going to make a bunch of cash and life is going to be good and their lifestyle is going to change. Let me help you right now. It's not. You may be hungry the first 2 years of your company building if you don't have another job, if you don't have a plan to sustain yourself. So today I want to help you with that. When you're starting a company, even evolving and scaling a company, I'm going to do the start part and then we'll do the scale part. So the first things first is you want to make sure that you have all your documents in order. In order for a baby to become a baby, they have to have a birth certificate. Yes, they're here. Yes, you can see it. Yes, you can hear it. Yes, it's crying. But the thing that identifies it is the paperwork that says, this is my baby's name. This is my baby's weight. I am my baby's mama, and that is my baby's daddy. There is a document that talks about the identity of the baby, and your business will become your baby. That thing is going to grow into something wonderful, but it starts as an infant. So first things first is you got to do the paperwork that gives your baby its identity, its name, where it is, where it's located, etc. So one of the first steps I always recommend anybody do when they're starting a company is business license, fictitious business name, bank account. Business license, fictitious business name, bank account. Those three components are the biggest steps, starters to any company, any business, small or large. You got to do the paperwork to identify you. Now, here where I am in California, we go to the county for that or the city for that, depending on if it's a fictitious business name statement or your business license or where you live. So you have to do the research to find out where that paperwork is filed, download it, and what the fees are. It's nominal. But once you do something like that, it makes you eligible for a couple of things. Number one, you are officially an established, documented business. That's number one. Number two, it'll give you the opportunity to have the paperwork you need to open your business's bank account. Now, if you're starting your company, what I tried really hard not to do is mix business money with personal money. It gets real easy, real quick to start spending business money on personal stuff when everything is all blended together, or spending personal money on business stuff when there's no clear delineation as far as where you're holding and budgeting your money from. So once you get those documents, it makes you eligible to open your business's bank account. So 1, 2, 3, those are first step, applicable steps, easy steps for you to really get started with. Now, if you've already done those things, it's time to move on. It's time for you to use your resources to start establishing or scaling up your company. One of the first things that I did as a company is I became my first investor. And most often people will look for someone to pour their money into their idea. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. If you're not more invested than anybody else on this planet and in your company and what you're building, you already have a problem. So you should be willing to invest what you have by way of your time, your talent, and your finances and your natural resources into your company. Now, how did I do that? Well, I had a job. And so I would save a percentage of my resources from my job. I also had a 401k. When I was ready to take the leap, I don't always advise this because some people they're not hardwired the way I am, and your company may require you to take some different steps. But what I did was I took my 401k, I took my savings, and then I took a second out on my house that I owned. And I started my company with those resources. Now, again, I'm not telling you to do this. You got to see if that's a right fit for you. But I'm one of those risk taker, jump off the cliff, learn how to fly after you jump kind of gals. And so everybody is not like that. So if you're playing it safe, Just save your money specifically for your business. But if you're like T and you already have those resources stacked somewhere, you can use that as an investment in the company that you're building. And that's what I did. Again, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you what I did. And I won't even tell you that it paid off in the first time, the first go around. Actually, I lost it all. But again, I'm not suggesting you do that. That was really hard and I cried a lot, but I'm not telling you to do that. So, but first things first, you want to save, especially when you're starting to build your brand. The second thing is you want to make sure that you have a budget. What's it going to take for you to do business every week and every month? And I find that most often people don't write down a budget. So if you're working from home, for me, one of the things that I wanted to graduate to when I first started is, yes, I'm using my home office, I'm using the energy there, I'm using the internet there. I wanted my business to grow to a place where the business could compensate me for the resources I was using by running my company at home. And then I built a budget for when I moved into a commercial space where I could run my business. So having a budget is your map for your money as the company starts making money. So I started with a budget, and I didn't start with the budget that I could do. I started the budget that I wanted to grow to. And sometimes you stay small because you don't plan to be big. So make sure that as you're crafting your budget for your company, that yes, you have one for now, but what about 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Always projecting forward, always projecting growth, planning for growth. And most often people don't have a budget, which means you're just paying money as fires present themselves, which means a potential hemorrhage on your company as it's trying to grow. No bueno. Make a budget. And if you need an example of what a budget sheet should look like, I can get you one of mine, or just Google business budget sheets. I promise you'll find a template somewhere. One of the things that I also build in my budget, number 3, is I always put a percentage away for future growth. And so I split my company funds in 3 different ways: what I need now, what I'm going to need for tomorrow, and what I need to build forward. So if you start adopting that mindset now as you're in the infancy stages of growing or scaling your company up, having that percentage that you're always stacking for tomorrow so that you can grow forward, just create that habit now. One of the other things that I notice when people start making money with their company is they spend it as it's coming in. You have to condition yourself now to understand that it's going to take money to make money. And you may not make money the first year. You may not even make money the second year. You may not even make money the third year. So sometimes when a check comes in, it's so relieving for that check to come in that you start spending it on things. And again, I'm telling you the things that I made the mistake on, and then I'm going to tell you the things that I did right that's working exceptionally well for me. And one of those things was, you get a lump sum of money because you just did your first big sale, sit on it. Don't spend it. Give yourself 6 months and just let it sit there. Why is that important? It's important for 2 reasons. Number 1, it builds the discipline in you, not easy come, easy go. Let it be in your bank account. And it builds the discipline in you to keep going after more resources. I find that young businesses, once they get a lump sum in because they hit their stride, the money comes in and they start spending it right away, which creates a problem for them down the line. You want to develop the practice of allowing your money to sit there and grow where it's sitting. The other reason that I let it sit there is so I can get used to having money in the bank account. When I first started my company, I was always battling overdraft fees because I would overspend, or I didn't have enough, or I would watch that number go down, 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 down. Sometimes it's just good for you interiorly just to see the numbers stay and to see the numbers grow. So if you adopt the idea of, okay, when I get my first big sum in, or when I get a first return on this, huge opportunity that I'm fighting for, I'm going to let 10,000 of it just sit there. I'm going to let the whole thing just sit there for 6 months, because it'll get you used to having money in your bank account. And once you're used to having money in your bank account, the great potential is you will continue to have money in your business bank account because you're used to having money in your bank account. And then it forces you to be creative in other ways with your business. If you know that, okay, I'm not going to exhaust all my funds right now, I'm going to let it sit there, then it's going to force you to find other ways to go get more resources. So you're not banking on just those resources. And you see this kind of stuff happen all the time with, professional athletes, people that have grown up poor. You get a chunk in and all of a sudden it's spending free. You get a chunk in and then all of a sudden there's a spending free. Goodness, T, get it right. You get a chunk of money in and then all of a sudden there's a spending spree. I've been there, done that, and I'm just telling you, I'm encouraging you greatly to kind of build some discipline so you don't do that. And then I'll also offer that, when you're making money, you want to make sure that you're not limiting yourself to the kinds of ways you can make money. So initially, it took money, it took my time for me to just teach dance classes. That's what I did. I taught hip hop dance classes and I taught them wherever I could teach them: churches, parks, community centers. And most often I gave these things away for free so I could test my craft, so I could develop my skills, so I could get accustomed to teaching in non-traditional spaces. And developing the ability to teach in non-traditional spaces and just kind of do things different really is what's lent to the explosive success of my organization being able to be established and franchised across the country. If I only taught dance in a dance studio, which is what tradition says, instead of giving it away for free in all these really unique spaces, I wouldn't have had the capacity or ability or know-how in how to scale my company anytime, anywhere, with anyone. And so giving it away for free really is what helped me to develop a larger product brand. And so you don't want to limit yourself to what you can do or what your company can do. And I think sometimes people will settle into, okay, this is making money, so I'm just going to stick with this. Well, I didn't have the ability to do that. I needed to make more resources because there was such great demand for what we do as far as serving young people in poor communities. And then I was a single mom with 3 kids, so I had to feed my family, and this was my it thing. So adding things to my organization that made money. So once I started teaching dance, I realized that young people like to do shows. And so we would do these shows. And so I started adding things like photography for recitals or videography for recitals. And I didn't just do it for my company. I became a consultant or a creative service that was outsourced to other companies. So now Studio T wasn't just a dance studio, it was also a media production studio. And again, these are just things that organically evolved as I kept doing what I was doing. So you want to make sure that you're not limiting yourself to the multitude of ways you can make money. And again, it takes money to make money. In order for me to add the media component, I had to do things like buy a camera, and not just any camera, the kind of camera that can pick up the kind of action that a break or b-boy or a dance class would offer. I couldn't get something slow and cheap. I had to get something right, that was going to give me some time, meaning I couldn't get the camera that worked for yesterday. I had to get the cameras that are going to work for tomorrow, which meant I had to take the money that I was sitting on that I made from the dance program, invested in a camera. That one camera made my company hundreds of thousands of dollars just in digital content. And this is me teaching and then a part-time assistant working with me. So I'm telling you, when you start to figure out your lane and your thing, and you've invested in yourself and you have your budget and you're growing and you see the money growing, take a chunk of that and put it into something else that causes another branch of your company to grow out and start producing for you. And again, I reiterate that it does take money to make money. I find that if you get so comfortable in where you're at, you can miss the opportunity to grow. Remember, in business, people are fickle. You're dealing with consumers. If you're not constantly evolving so that you can serve consumers, consumers will find someplace else to put their dollars, and you want that someplace to be you. So I'll give you this as far as my companies are concerned. I started with one dance studio and it evolved into 7 companies. Those 7 companies have evolved into multiple cities, multiple states, and soon countries being populated with Studio T. And it's anywhere from dance, we teach culinary arts. I'm standing here in my DJ Academy. We teach DJing. We teach, again, media arts, filmmaking, social media content development, business. We have podcasts. We teach podcasts like what I'm doing right now. We teach people how to do that. And I just acquired a 44,000 square foot series of buildings as our innovation factory. At this innovation factory, we have a movie theater. You have rental space for other companies that are looking to get started or grow or scale. All of this came from me doing the one thing and following these simple steps to just get started, and then not being anchored in just this one thing, but letting a branch grow and another branch grow and another branch grow and another branch grow. And I won't pretend like this was all easy. It wasn't easy. It was very, very difficult. So this all does require discipline. Making money make money requires discipline. So you figure out what your it thing is, and then make sure that you are saving. Make sure that you are the number one investor. I'm the number one investor in time. I get up, I'm here before anybody. I leave after everybody leaves. That's just my practice. I know a lot of people say things like boundaries and me time and self-love and all that stuff. I'm not saying work yourself into the ground. What I am saying is you be the greatest investor in your company. Your time, your talents, and your financial resources. And the other thing is you got to tell your money what to do. Be disciplined with your money. Don't let your money dictate which direction you go or which direction you grow. You say, this is the plan, and I'm putting this into the plan, and I'm saving this for the next level of plan. And then 5 years from now, this is what the plan is going to look like. You have to be so ultra strategic in that respect. And most often people miss that. You cannot achieve the great success in your company because you didn't make the plan to win. And so I hope this helps you. This is part one. We'll have some other parts coming along. And I thought it was really cool to do this in my new DJ Academy room. We just built it out. It's one of several rooms here in the factory, but I just thought it would be neat for you to see the evolution. Again, I do dance. How fitting is it for us to have a DJ room, because that's what we use when we're doing the dance stuff. And now I can teach a bunch of people how to do the same thing. And guess what? That's me taking my money and making my money make money. So now we go out in the community and we do all kind of DJ gigs, and guess what? That makes us more money. So it takes money to make money. You just got to be very sure about the money you want to make, the lifestyle you want to live, and build the plan to do it. I really hope this helps you. Again, the goal is always to give you the steps that we've applied, not things that I read in a book, not things that I think are cool, but the steps that were applied that has transformed everything that we do in every city that we commit to, in every state that we journey to, and every country that we put our feet in. So thank you for watching today. Make sure you take lots of notes, apply some of this stuff, leave some comments so I know that this is working for you. I want to see if it's working for you, because if it's not working for you, I'm just going to keep trying until it does work for you. And subscribe. If you hit that little bell thing, I think it reminds you that I just did another podcast. So thank you for joining Sweet Tea Time. I want you to live your sweet life now. So tune in next time for our next episode. Bye-bye.